Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Manchester United Agenda, 16th of September, 2024. And I hope that you're all doing very well. Now, Mr. B will be joining us in a couple of minutes. I assume he's on the phone solo, getting the latest solo 11 for you all. But fear not, because I'm joined by Yabba Forbes. Yabba, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah, I've had a long day. I've done 12-hour shift today. I've been there from 8 this morning and just got home now. So really long day at work, and it's nice to come home into the arms of the agenda. Part-time, But yeah, I'm doing all right, apart from bad results for my Sunday team. But otherwise, yeah, everything is okay. How are you?
All right, well, we'll get into that. I'll just say hello to the people that have turned up on time, which I like to see. They're so punctual. We've got DK Wilson, all the way from Alabama, which I wasn't allowed to say last time. But shout out to you, DK Wilson. Got Matty Bassett. Big up yourself. Bath Time and Yabba, how did you get on with the football over the weekend? We'll get back to that. We've got Andrew Williams. He's no longer a loser. All right, folks. All right to you. Got Bilal saying the blind test. Very nice. And everyone else saying hello to each other. So, Sunday League, Yabba. It doesn't. Oh, and look at this. We've got Bartholomew in the house and Double A. Hello, gents. Hope you're doing well. Yabba, it sounds to me like Sunday didn't go very well for you.
Can we start with good news? 2 goals, 2 assists, please. Talk
for you.
No, you.
It was 2 goals, 1 assist.
Well, I want to start with some good news. That would cheer me up. Then I'll be a bit more enthusiastic about talk about.
All right. Well, I was bloody dreadful, as I thought I was going to be for the first 5 minutes, until the biggest lump ever just upended me. So I play as a second striker now, Mondo. I'm not allowed to play in midfield anymore. We've got 2 midfielders. Okay. I got put up in the air. And I landed angry, and then my game improved considerably.
Did you see him coming, or did you have your back to goal?
I heard him coming.
Yeah, okay.
You know that, like in Jurassic Park, where like the water is shaking as the T-Rex comes, and you hear this big sort of breathing. It was a bit like that, and he's just one of these. I don't understand these guys. Do you come across them as well? They think if they smash you in the first couple of minutes, you're going to start crying and going home as if you've never played a football game before. No idea.
They don't know the bath time. They don't know about bath time, that's for sure. So when you're playing in a new position, what did you have to think about? How you play, get yourself in space? Were you doing the Xerxes sort of false 9 thing where you're looking for space and popping off? How did you change your game? Because you're experienced enough to sort of adapt. What did you have to change about your game?
It's more about the players that I'm playing with. I know what they can do and what they can't do. So it's about creating angles and being the right distance to for them to receive the ball. Because I can't lie, the league I play in the standard is dreadful.
Yeah,
like they're all great lads, and they all try and all this sort of stuff, but they need 2 touches to get the ball under control and things like that. So a lot of the time, you've just got to sort of base yourself. You've got to take your position from your teammates and what they can and can't do. So whenever you watch Sunday League game, one of the things that you'll notice is that there's a striker who thinks that everyone on the pitch is Beckham or something, and he'll make the most ridiculous runs, and no one's going to be able to get the ball to him. So what you need to do is you just need to get yourself at 45 degrees, 10 or 15 yards, something like that, receive the ball. The other team are always incredibly disorganized and they don't really have any kind of team shape. So it's not difficult. And to be honest, defenders, they can give it out, but they don't really understand about very minor things. Like, if you foul me, I know where your liver is, and the next time that's where my elbow's going to be, and then we'll see about who's a princess.
Tell us about the goals then and the assist. I'd love to hear this, how you scored your goals.
One was a free kick.
You're right-footed,
left-footed.
Are you left-footed?
I am left-footed,
yes. Wow, I didn't know that. Are you left-handed?
No.
Okay. So was it from the right-hand side to bend in? How did you score this?
It was pretty central, and it's about 30 yards from goal. And to be honest, all you need to do is get it on target in the air towards corner, and it'll go in. It was a nice. It was a nice.
What sort of when did the ball bounce, or did it? What sort of height did it go into the goal?
It was about a yard under the bar.
Wow, that's beautiful.
You know that like because you boys are all street footballers. I'm a field footballer. That's when I learned how to play football on the field. And all I did was just do crosses and things like that. I've always been very good at set pieces. It's what I've got in a lot of teams because I can do very good corners and things like that. And that went in, and that ended the debate in our WhatsApp group.
Oh yeah, of course. You say someone else is taking it on set pieces. That's
yeah.
Yeah. And what about the other goal then? What happened with the other second goal?
You'll like the other goal, toe poke.
Oh, from a cross or a
no, they were just all really unfit and fat. I just ran past them, and then I toe poked it through the keeper's legs. And do you know
you celebrate? Do you celebrate at halftime?
Yeah.
What do you do?
You know, Ronaldo sort of like wags his fingers.
Yes, really, you do that?
Yeah, he's my footballing hero. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, I would have been about 8 when he was doing all his stuff at Barcelona. Yeah. So it was like he's always been like my kind of my first love of football.
That's a great celebration.
But the reason I scored that is because after we spoke the other day, I went and watched quite a lot of Romario goals on YouTube, and I thought I'm going to start toe poking it more often. So thank you very much, Mr. Juma.
Thank you.
And the assist.
That's a great form. What's the final score then in the game?
5-1.
And the assist then?
The assist was just once again that they're not very good at football. So you just, if the ball's under control and you run past them and get yourself across, you just cross it across and just roll it across to the penalty spot. And occasionally one of my teammates happens to wander in there and knock it in. But really, really good. I haven't played for 6 months, so it was great to be out. Did 80 minutes, and I was almost as happy as when I see this gentleman here. It's Mr. B.
What's happening? So the team you played weren't very good, Bath time.
No one in our league is very good.
So you were calling like you sent the message in. You thought you could tell me you played top of the league team. You were in midfield parallel. I find that you
didn't say any of those things.
No, but I just assumed this is the assumption that I had, and now you've told me that they weren't very good. It's taken all of the gloss away from it, man.
Look, a goal is a goal, all right, and it's important. Like it's the current. Look, I'm now a goal scorer. This is the currency that we deal with. Monday keeps trying to send me back to centre back. I'm going further up the pitch.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take that. No, well done, man.
Yeah, so it was really fun.
But, you had a friendly, right?
No, game was. I didn't have a goalie this week, so we didn't play. But first league game next week, so we'll see what happens.
Wow, wicked.
So, are you going to tell us?
I'll just break down quickly. First league game of the season, we had 11 players. Okay, and that's really poor. People dropping out like flies. We were away from home, playing just under the arches of Wembley, where we were just right next to Wembley Stadium. Played a team. They were in a new league, a new format, two leagues, a lot of teams in each league, and the level's gone up. And the team we played, young Asian boys, but they played good football. They were well organised. They controlled the game against us. We got some good players. My brother was in the back three, and I had wing backs, and that's all we could play. The only system we could play with the players we had available. They went 2-0 up early. Just a few mistakes with organisation, positioning, and we just couldn't control the game. We couldn't keep the foot on the ball. We couldn't, get any sort of control into the game. And then we were just looking for long balls or sort of breaks. It kept breaking down, and players there's fundamentals which we see from the opposite side, who we felt that we were better than, but they were able to do the fundamentals really well, keep the ball, pass it around to each other, unselfish. Sometimes pass backwards or sideways, just keep the ball, and they put us on the back foot, and then our defensive line just kept having to go back and back and back. Then they dominate the game, then we couldn't get out. It was really difficult. So I came on the last 20 minutes. And I had to talk because I get really annoyed because a lot of people on the pitch don't talk enough. because it's suggesting they don't know what they're doing. It's the whole point. If you're not going to talk, it means you don't know what you're saying. Or you don't.
I don't talk a lot.
Yeah, but you, regardless, I think if you're in defence or if you're in a position, you need to create things and organise. And when you're running that position, doing things that are just completely off key, it shows me you don't know what you're doing. So I come on. What I'm very good at, I talk through the whole of the game, and I come on and I talk, organised it straight away. Where even one of my teammates had to say to me, "That's better. That's what we need." You come on and straight away we can see that things are organised. We know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. It's like I just have them on a string like that. I was playing the sweep of the free, cleaning up everything, just picking up everything, just reading the game, and unfortunately they scored 2 more goals, one more for a free kick, another one for a set piece, and by that point we just couldn't play. So I just want my team to have more control. We've got some good players, just have more control of the football. Which means some players need to, play the way they're facing. Don't worry about just getting direct all the time. Play the way they're facing, build up, bring other players into the play, and build up a team and control and play them football in their half and do that. Otherwise, we're just getting the ball. It's like hot potato, giving it away all the time. So I'm very disappointed, to be honest. But I am good. Like I'm saying, I've been on a diet last week. From watching that game, I think I need to be playing more often to really sort of get. There's no point saying things. Practice what you preach. I will preach it and show them what I can do on the pitch and organise things and get things back to normal because I'm aggressive, I'm vocal, and I'm a good player. I've got a good like if I'll tell you now, I can remember giving the ball away 5 years ago and it still haunts me. So that's that's player I am. That's the responsibility you've got to have. You make a mistake. The amount of mistakes these guys are making in the game, I think, how can you sleep at night? If I make one mistake in the game, I'm haunted by it. I just have to go over it in my mind. So my touch, everything, passing, my weight of pass, my aggression, everything has to be on point. And if it's not, I have to live with that all throughout the week. I think about it non-stop. So that's the responsibility I want all players to have. Make sure, even pros as well, they should be thinking about their game at every minute of their game and thinking about what I did wrong and how can I improve. A lot of these guys don't want to improve, don't want to be hearing from me how to improve them because they don't want to hear it. That's the bottom line. So if you don't want to improve, we're not going to improve as a team and we're not going to get any better. And it's going to be a tough season. Anyway.
I kind of agree with a lot of the points you've made there. Yeah, but like one of the things that I find with playing with people that haven't really sort of played at a decent level is they don't have like a kind of emotional maturity in a game. Like when they get the ball, they're very, very likely to panic. And a lot of the time, I think that some of our players are hiding a little bit in terms of that they don't want to do something bad. So instead of taking the risk, which is very important, I think, in football, is they'll give a sideways pass or they won't know what to do, and then they go long. And the other thing is that there are people who are just there to show off. Like I swear to God, someone on the other team, they did something I've never seen before, which was they got the ball by themselves, 1v1 with Kay, who's our left back. And he did, I swear to God, he did the Anthony spin. And then he did a step over.
The outcome was?
Kay kicked him in the nuts, basically. And his teammates were not happy with him. But that was what he came to do, was he sort of came to show off. And I find that nowadays people don't understand what being part of a team actually is. And it really, I find it really difficult because all of us here could go and all do our separate thing, but it's always better to win as a team than it is to be your own person. And because you lift yourselves up. But do you know who else lifts me up? Stephanie Griffiths, and she's saying big up Bath Time and Yabba. Bart is saying thank you for acknowledging my presence on the stream, for all United fans in the community, for tolerating my rants and bants from time to time. Been drinking tonight, Bart? Okay, Andrew, I want to know why Garnacho is not a first-team player at United at the moment. Why is he playing second fiddle to our sulking fraud? One thing that I dread in Sunday League, are you a player, Bart, is that most amateurs don't know how to control their body, especially when they suddenly stop after sprinting.
Is he a player?
Well, it sounds like he's just walking across the pitch from this, and people are bouncing into him.
He's the water boy.
Yeah. Andrew Williams, I am left-handed when my right hand is tired. Brilliant.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Bilal is saying he thinks DK Wilson is actually from South London. We Deserve Better has guessed my age. Well done. It's Rich. Hello, Rich. Some of us are too out of breath to talk on the pitch.
That's true.
Sounds like the Daily Mail's next football expose will be, is Yabba to be replaced by Ten Hag?
Very good.
And this is a good one. Nebraska farm life is awesome. As a fella, I'm a farmer in my heart as well. I play in a farmers league, come from the countryside. I like farming. All right. Okay, so Mr. B, should we talk about the Barnsley game then?
Yeah, let's get it out. Let's get it in. Let's get it in and let's get it out of the way, innit?
All right, lads. Score predictions for Barnsley. I'm not accepting anything less than 4-0. Like, Yabba, who are Barnsley?
Talk.
Yeah, we're going to beat Barnsley. I think there'll be a lot of changes. I think we mentioned Anthony just now about his spinning thing that he does. But we might be seeing that and kicking the nuts as well. Who knows? But yeah, I think we should win the game. Barnsley, we're just looking now. They're 7th in League One. They got relegated from the Championship last season. They've had a few good players over the years, but they always get sold on. They've always been in and around the Championship, but now they're in League One. They've obviously had a dip. And how do they get back? I mean, they've got the quality there. They've got 3 international players as well. But I think it's going to be like a must-win for Man United. I remember a few weeks ago, Bath was saying if we don't beat Barnsley, Ten Hag will be out. I don't think that's the case now. We're more comfortable. I think we just got to step it up. There's great confidence going into that game after a league win. And I think the players are hungry. The manager said in his press conference that he's going to play players based on what they do in training. So that's why Anthony was mentioned. I think Anthony might get a start. And I'm looking forward to seeing some other players like maybe fringe players coming in and getting a game. And we can observe them and we get excited about them. So I'm saying we're going to win about 2-0.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mr. B, we're going to pump them, aren't we?
Yeah. We are, especially if we put out the team that Solo says is let me get his team up anyway.
Whilst we wait for that, one thing I'm a little bit disappointed about is Chido Obi Martin or whatever. Apparently, he's not registered for us yet.
At all.
There's been a hold up with him, and he was going to be third choice striker. So I was hoping that he would start this game, but
really,
wow,
you would have started him.
Yeah, he's third choice. That's what Fabrizio Romano and someone else told me hours before Fabrizio did, which I was shocked by. But it turned out to be true, so well done. I'm amazed by this team. Talk me through it, Mr. B.
I don't know what Solo's done here, to be fair. Obviously, he's got another in goal. Dallo right back. I mean, Mazraoui, by all accounts, it's the same squad. Nobody's unavailable, even though it looked like Martinez and Mazraoui came off, a little bit gingerly, but by all accounts, everybody's playing. So Dallo, obviously another in goal. I'm not sure if Bayinder's ever going to see any form of competitive football. So I'll be surprised if it's not Onana. Dallo, Maguire, and De Ligt. Amas probably needs a run out with maybe a more experienced backline. Agate needs minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Collier needs a start. Bruno never ever gets dropped. Garnacho deserves a start. Rashford probably deserves the rest. Anthony to fill that side, and Wheatley up top.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a different first 11, to be honest.
Let's go. I want to hear it.
I think
guys in the chat as well. Sorry, guys in the chat as well. Let's get your 11s up, please. Sorry, go
on. I think Johnny Evans will play left back. I think Maguire.
Left back?
Yeah. I think Maguire will play centre back. I think Casemiro will play centre back
With
Maguire. And then I would agree with the rest of the team. But I think Bayinder's got to start.
do you think he'll start him?
Well, if he's not going to start against bloody Barnsley at home, like, who is he going to start against?
It's this bloody Ten Hag, though, isn't it? He didn't rotate at all when we expected him to, to maybe throw in a few youngsters. He went strong. I know he wants to win every game, but Jesus Christ, there has to be some sort of rotation going on. So you think so? What about you, Monday? What are you thinking, Yaba?
I think it's a good team he's put out here. But the only thing I think sorry. I think he look like he had a bit of an injury, or he's rubbing his
cramp.
Cramp. Yeah. So I think he might be rested. Have Evans and him, and put Amas at left back. Amas will play. I think Amas is definite to start. Very interesting with Ugarte. I think it's a good game for him to start. I think he's wise here to put Collier in. Casemiro, the question mark about him, but he did come on and play pretty well, and he is an established player. So maybe he gets to start somewhere in that. I think Bruno could rest, but as you said, Mr. B, talking ways, he does take this seriously. He plays
he doesn't
the team a lot of the time. And the other thing is, I think this is one of the competitions that we should be, really trying to win. We're not maybe going to win the title, so we have to look at the domestic cups again as something to sort of go for, So I think the team's quite balanced, and I think it's a good team. I think that team, even though you're bringing in youngsters, you're bringing in players that are hungry like Anthony, and you got Collier up front. I still think it's a good enough team.
Do you think Wheatley will start? Do you think Wheatley will start? He's not going to give Hoyland. He's not going to give Hoyland 60 minutes.
Is there not?
Well, I
a
thought.
guy? Sorry, yeah, but is there not a guy in the under-18s or under-19s like who scored a hatful of goals in recent weeks? I'd like.
Yeah,
him
there is
to
a
be
guy
on
who's
the bench.
13 years old.
No,
There's
not
a
that guy that you
13-year-old
put
who just
in.
played 16. Yeah.
No, it's called like Sergio Balotelli.
I don't think so.
Oh, I think a couple of weeks ago, about a week ago, half time, he hit a whole load of goals in one of the games.
Yeah, and I think he got a brace or a hat trick in his last match. I'd like to see him on the bench, and whoever the captain is for the under-21s and the under-18s, I'd like them to be on the bench as well.
Interesting.
How much players can you get on the bench?
Like 7?
Shit, yeah.
That's
It's
better
going
than
to be
having
interesting. I wanted
8
to give players the night off. The ones, if Xerxes don't let Xerxes kick up. Let Xerxes stay at home. You know what I mean? Don't have him there on the bench.
You know what? I think Xerxes might start, to be honest, because we haven't got many other strikers. Haaland's out. I think Xerxes probably will start and then drag him off when we're cruising, if that's the case.
Yeah, would you be happy if you put a team as strong as this out and at 60 minutes, 5 or 6 of them came off with
that's what the
3-0
subs are
lead?
for. I think that's where you have to be a good manager and use your subs to rest players. 60 minutes, you could do that enough. That 60-minute explosiveness and the thing in the training session. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's us worrying about tiring out players, but they train every day, and the 60 minutes of football against Barnsley, it's probably more intense playing 11-11 on a normal training day. I imagine. No disrespect to Barnsley. I mean, they're probably going to come for us and get probably set up well and be physically strong. But I just think we've got enough in the locker to whatever team we put out. As long as we're strong in our core, I think we can afford to play the Amases and the Colliers in and around the squad as well, and the Anthonys.
All right. Should we see what people are saying?
I know there must be a few people losing their mind. Guys, there's no point in losing your mind with us. This is the one It's Solos team. And 2, we haven't even picked it. This is what we do. So don't lose your heads.
I don't think people are losing their heads, but I mean, Andrew's lost his head. He's going 4-0 United. Bilal 2-0. We Deserve Better is informing us that he's fond of farmers as well. Juan Pablo Angel has popped in, and he's going 1-0. Bart 2-0, jittery moments during defensive set plays. Bilal reckons it's 2-0 with an Onana brace. God, United 5, Barnsley 2. Stranger things have happened. Andrew's team is Bayindir in goal, Amas, Evans, Maguire, Delo, Casemiro, Collier, Kone. No one's mentioned him yet. Rashford, Cheeto's not around, and Anthony would be my team. Cheeto technically isn't our player, Andrew. I don't think he's been registered, and it's going to the Court of Arbitration about what the compensation fee should be with Arsenal, is my understanding. So they're just being dicks, to be honest, Arsenal. Vincent is going to the game tomorrow. It's 26 quid. That's a saving of £6, and he thinks he'll win 5-0 tomorrow.
Yes, Vincent. Big up, Vinny.
I think it should be a demolition job tomorrow.
Andrew, if Bruno starts, Heath should be sacked on the spot. All right, Double A is going for Delo, Maguire, Evans, Amas, Ugarte, Casemiro, Ericsson, Anthony Zerbi, Garnacho. I don't think that's the worst shout, actually. Maybe playing Ericsson for Bruno.
Yeah, good shout.
Andrew, once again, it will be malpractice if Bruno starts. Missed chances, 2-0. Chances converted, 4-0. I don't know what that means. I think you're saying we're going to go for a 2-0 win. If he plays Onana against Barnsley at home, by him, they might as well go back to Turkey. I agree with that.
Yeah.
We Deserve Better's team is Onana, Delo, Maguire. Who's Marty? Is that Delict? Amas, Ugarte, Casemiro, Ahmad. Sorry?
Martinez,
okay. Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford. That's a pretty strong team.
Jesus.
Bart is saying Dutch managers are notorious for not rotating regularly. Slot, Louis van Gaal are culpable of this too. They usually like small squads for a reason. At Ajax, they've got 16 senior players and 7 youth team lads. That's because we've signed the rest of them.
Wow.
Matty McMatface. Sorry I'm late. Apology accepted. Play the reserves, in my opinion. It's Tyrone in the house. Anthony's chance to shine against lower ranked opponents. Wouldn't mind seeing new keepers. Alte, me, or the new one we poached from Arsenal, Hubert Graciek. I'm not sure. I'm worried that he's trying to make me say something I don't want to say. Or maybe I do. Who knows?
I mean, it's the way you spell it. I don't think it's it would. No, yeah, it's not. That must be somebody's name.
Yeah, like that is if he's on his phone, that Hubert is not in anyone's auto connect. Martinez is injured, apparently. He won't start. All right. So we've got score predictions. I'm going for 5-0, Mr. B.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 4. I'm going to go for 4-0.
And I'm on day a conservative 2-0, control the game.
Yeah.
See it out.
Yeah. Get 2 goals off set pieces, clean sheet, standing ovation from Old Trafford. And just before we go on to other things, Tyrone's team is Onana, Delo, Delict, Martinez, Amas, Collier, Ugarte, Anthony, Ahmad, Garnacho, Zerzi. He wants to see Ahmad as a number 10 as well. So I'm very pleased that everyone has got Collier and Amas in the team.
I think that, you know what, I it would be a shame if they've been around the first team and don't get the game tomorrow. Collier may not get a start, but he needs. I think he's the one who probably needs game time just to keep him. Not say keep him interested. He's going to be interested, but
motivated.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, motivated. The rest of them, they're on big man. They don't need the motivation, man. They should go out there and turn up. But I think him and Amas deserve some game time tomorrow.
I think based off pre-season and the fact that Collier has come on in the Premier League, I think that they've paid their dues. Even players like Fletcher, who were on pre-season as well, I'd like to see them on the bench at least, because I think it's a huge moment for everyone in the academy when they see their mates like on the bench or playing at Old Trafford. It gives like this possibility, the probability that if they work hard, they can get there as well. It sets a great example. And youth culture is very important to us. And what I really don't want is like just Ten Hag to put out his strongest team or something like that. Like this is the game where, so I'm quite excited about that. Now, unless there's anything else, we're gonna do a very quick 35 minute eye test now. Are we all happy with this?
Yeah, ready to rock and roll.
All right, I think to keep spirits up, because tactics is incredibly boring, I'm going to show the goal from the third goal that we scored first, and then we're going to discuss a little bit about Xerxes, how he's affecting our team, what he's bringing, what problems we may have adjusting to it, and so on. Is everyone happy with that?
Good to go.
Okay, so as always, I've got to get stuff up. It's such a slick operation, this show.
Let's fill the gaps. Oh, what a lovely day today. The weather was, nice and fresh.
How much weight you lost on Monday?
How much money have I lost?
How much weight?
Oh, I've lost. I was 145. Now I'm 130. So it's 15 kilos.
Is this on screen, Mister 135? Yes, all right. This is the 95th minute. Monday, talk us through it. I couldn't be bothered to name the Southampton players, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. There's nobody.
Yeah. Here we go. So Maguire's got the ball. We're camping him in their half. Gives it to Agate. Plays it in a half space to Casemiro, who plays a lovely slide rule pass for Dalot, who timed his run. He squares it. And Garnacho hits it in the roof of the net, runs to the hoardings, and waits for Ahmad for their photo time. What a lovely ball between the fullback and the centre-back from Casemiro. Another great ball from him. He's played a lot of great balls of that in the final third in recent weeks. In the games, he picks it up here, waits for the run, plays it through the two guys, and it's a lovely worked goal. That's what you would do. Simplify it.
All right. Has anything caught your eye here, Mr. B?
The ball from Casemiro, to be fair, I thought it was brilliant. I think that's what made the goal.
Watch Johnny Evans. Do you see where he is? Number 2.
Left back.
Did he really do that run?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant from Johnny Evans. Because if we look here, see where Xerxes is. Yeah. Sorry?
Maybe it's dangerous because you talk about if we gave the ball away there and he's making a run forward like that.
It's 2-0 up on Monday against 10 men with 1 minute left. This is what you want to see. But he basically, because Xerxes pulls their number 3 out, which is Kyle Walker-Peters, I think, and the number 4, the centre-backs and the defensive midfielder, 4, 5 and 6, are all dealing with Bruno, Kobe and Garnacho. Johnny Evans, that well-known goal poacher, has run blindside, gone through, and it's his run that pulls the number 4 back that plays everyone onside.
Because they were talking about that. That's okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant from Johnny Evans, and it's an example of how our players need to kind of attack space a bit more fluently when we're playing with a false 9. Because
do you think that was tactical, or do you think that was the decision that Johnny Evans made when the ball came out this side?
I think it's definitely Johnny Evans' decision. Like when the ball goes out here to Casemiro and we stop it there, I think that Evans has sort of seen this area here. Like he's a defender, so he understands the importance of that. You've got Kyle Walker-Peters concentrating on Xerxes. You've got these 3 dealing here. Casemiro hasn't got too many options, but I think that Evans is thinking about a far post run to maybe get on the end of something like a header. But what he does is he identifies the dangerous space and attacks it the same way that he identifies dangerous space and defends it. And so he just runs on the blind side. The number 4 has to come out to get to him, which not only plays everyone on side, it just puts a little gap there. for Garnacho to attack. Garnacho acts that space, rifles it in the top corner, and before you know it, him and Ahmed are kissing on the hoardings. But I think it's just a really good example of players that understand the space that Xerxes has created here. Because as a number 9, you want your number 9 there, don't you, Yabba?
Yeah, you expect him to be in the box, get in the end of things, get it be in the box, but he's sort of clearly dragged players out of position to allow that space for the run. So yeah, I didn't notice that watching the game or watching the replays or anything. That's a fabulous run there, and it does exactly what you just said there. You made break that down brilliantly, because everyone was talking about why the defender was playing him on, and I couldn't figure it out at the time. Didn't see the camera angles or anything, but that explains it. Well done, Johnny Evans. It's a good run to make, and obviously when you come on the pitch, it's another thing about being a sub. When you come on, you've got something to do. You want to sort of get involved. He wants to get in the end of things and can score goals. He's coming to the end of his career, and that was a great run with experience, like you said, to sort of try and get on the end of things and create more space for other players by dragging the defender away from the danger area.
Yeah, total football, Mr. B. Would you like to see your left back running into the number 9 position with 30 seconds to go? Why not?
Yeah. If we're 2-0 up and we're in the 95th minute, the goalie can come up, mate. We ain't gonna concede 2. But yeah, to be fair, as I said by half time, I wasn't. My question about it being tactical, would it have, if they were, if it was a 75th minute, maybe he wouldn't have made that run, and pulled the defender away. So that's more what I was getting at. Do you think it was something that's pre-planned or something that was just
I think that is Johnny. I think that's Johnny Evans playing against Southampton. Like it's a relic of the sort of Ferguson, get people forward, get in there, score goals, and he's seen a space, he's gone for it. Like he's got Ugarte, Maguire who can cover him. He can make the foul. It's a proper Manchester United play there, a bit of courage and aggression. And it's resulted in a goal. And I hope the rest of them look at that. Like when there's space, if you can get into it, get into it. So I'm a fan of that.
Interesting. I was listening to Clayton Blackmore. I remember him, the Welsh international player for Man United, and he was saying the other day on the radio. He said, "Look, in our day with fullbacks, the theory was if you don't go forward, if you can't get back, basically." So Johnny Evans made a good run there. Off the ball, getting forward, but he knew his fresh legs just come on the pitch. He probably could get back 100-yard sprint, get back in shape. So it's really good, really good run from him, and it's good to see the movement off the ball, which sometimes creates goals for us.
All right, well, Tyrone is saying the eye test, and he's put a picture of an eye there. Maybe he's part of the Illuminati. Yeah, but who knows?
Hey, I'm not the one who does the what's his name? Ahmad, the Ahmad celebration. You've seen that?
Yeah. Is that the Illuminati symbol? Jay-Z does that.
He's doing some foolishness that I don't even like. I don't want to see that. Just do the finger. I'd like to do the bath time or Ronaldo.
Yeah, just do the Ronaldo one. Yeah, he's got to start scoring bloody goals to do either of them. Yes, Matty, but that face, it is the eye test. Looks like Evans pulled him away from focusing on the cross and getting to Garnacho. I think that's a good interpretation.
I love DK.
Exactly, bath time. By the way, that's near the basketball move too. Gives the player cutting to the basket, free rein with no backside defender. I'm sure that makes sense to someone who plays basketball, but to me it doesn't. I must look into basketball. It's meant to be very important for pressing. Eye of Horus and all sorts. Can we rename this to like the Illuminati test or something?
Monday wouldn't. Yabba wouldn't come on. Yeah, Yabba wouldn't come on. I said when we were designing the badge, he'll say this got a devil on it. Yes, so Monday. Sorry, it's not our fault.
Oh dear. All right. I've done a quick thing on false nines that I want to whiz through. Unless if anyone doesn't understand anything, ask him, we can explain it. This is going to lead into the clips that we're going to show later. So first of all, Actually, the first thing a false nine's got to do is score goals. Don't get it twisted. Like, you've got to score goals, like, as a forward. But one of the key aspects they do is manipulating a block. So if a false nine drops, whose job is it to follow him, or should he be followed? Because your number 9 normally occupies 2 centre-backs. So if he drops 10, 15 feet, who's going with him? Vidic and Rio had this problem with Messi. They didn't know what to do. So, Mr. B, if your team's playing against number 9 who's dropping into midfield, what are you telling your defenders?
Just to go with him to a certain part, to be fair, and try and get my maybe my holding midfielder to scan for where he picks himself up. I don't really want them following him out. I know on the game that we just played, my memory's so shit. The game that we just Southampton,
yeah,
their centre back was following Xerxes like past the halfway line.
Yeah.
So Xerxes obviously did his job in making him follow him because of his. But I would rather my defenders stayed as a back four and communicated to maybe trying to pick him up as he dropped further back.
Well, that's the point, because when he does that, if a defender goes with him, what you're doing is you're manipulating the last line of the block.
Mm.
And as a team, Manchester United are not good at manipulating blocks. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Eriksen plays, and I think we might see more of him. Because what happens when you drop into the midfield, you essentially make a 4 versus 3.
You think Eriksen's going to play more games? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I'll evidence it later, but keep that in mind. It's because of essentially what's going to happen. So false nine drops in to make a 4 versus 3, so you have an overload in a part of the pitch. The wide forward then you would normally expect them to move centrally to occupy those centre backs. So essentially, what you get is an overload in your midfield with a fullback on the opposition team that is confused about where he should be. Right? Any problems with that?
No, that's good.
Go on.
All right. Rondos. All right. So when you like rondos, when you see them, normally you'll only see the piss about ones that they show where it's basically Piggy in the middle. Rondos are quite a serious thing, and when you train them, there's always a purpose to it. The purpose is that you're trying to get 2 types of advantage. One is a positional advantage, where you have 2 players in between the lines, and the other one is a numerical advantage. So you get the pitch where essentially you're 4 versus 3. Okay, and that means that you shouldn't, with good players, you shouldn't lose the ball. So these players have to arrange themselves based on distance and angle in order to quickly ping the ball about. And then what happens is one of the opposition players has to break from their block and come and deal with that. Okay, so that's really important. So the rondo is about basically sucking people into the middle of the pitch, and then you spring it. And by spring it, that means you get it out of the rondo and you move it quickly to where the space is, whether that's in behind or normally out wide.
So would that be a pre-planned execution, or would that just be timing of how it goes in the game? And what
absolutely pre-planned.
Pre-planned. Would you be happy as a player having it pre-planned, or would you rather it being off the cuff?
Okay, so it depends on how you organize yourself as a team. If in the football that I've played and the football that's played in the Premier League, you're mainly occupying zones, right?
Mm.
That means that it's never off the cuff. If your organization is based on where the ball is and where your teammates are, then you get emergent structures where you play off the cuff. So if you think of the great Brazilian teams, they position themselves where their teammate. Oh, here's a better one: York and Cole. They didn't position themselves in zones. They got on angles related to each other so that they could cut the lights, let it through their legs, and then the other one could go. And that was an emergent structure. That wasn't one that they trained to do. It just happened on the pitch. With a rondo, what you're doing is you're trying to recreate that where you can do it whenever you want. And they're very specific as well, where you have players entering and exiting rondos to try and like confuse the block even more. So you'll start off with 4 people in a diamond, and before you know it, a fullback has replaced a midfielder in that diamond, and the other midfielder is getting into a position where they can isolate someone or overload someone. So if you've ever heard the expression overload to isolate,
that's what they're talking about, yeah?
Essentially, yeah, what you're doing is when
sorry, yeah, I'll let you finish, sorry.
Yeah, so when you overload to isolate, what you're trying to do is you're trying to disrupt the block and pull more people into an area so that when you use your passing network, someone on the other side of the pitch has loads of space and time. If you ever think of Mahrez, right? Mahrez is always 1v1 with his player whenever he played for City. Like there's never another midfielder there to cover. He's just going at the fullback. Or if you think of Doku against Wan-Bissaka in the FA Cup final, what City did is they overloaded a certain area of the pitch and then got it out to the guy that isolated the fullback. Yeah. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yabba, any comments?
No, makes a lot of sense. I see what you're trying to do here, or what the purpose is of all. Can you
do a 6-man rondo?
Yeah, you can. That's what Brighton do. It's called the double box.
Yeah, I'm trying to incorporate the box midfield in my team, but Jesus Christ.
Are you really? Yeah. That's very ambitious.
Yeah, I know, and I'm starting to regret it. I'm trying to do a little bit of research on it, but because the midfield changed, if the midfield stayed the same, I think it would probably be easier to do. But when you're going to be changing every week, I think it makes it a little bit more difficult. But the overloading part, yeah, the rondos part of it, I do understand, and I think the Mahrez, what's the word I'm looking for? Example that you gave is probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, because I remember Phil Scolari, he was in recent years one of the first to play for Brazil with 4-2-2-2 with say Ronaldo and Adriano up front, Kaká, Ronaldinho behind him, and then 2 midfielders. And that's kind of like a box midfield, isn't it? In that sense, not with the width is coming from Carlos and Cafu. So with the players, I suppose he's forced into that with the players, the personnel that he had. But looking at these rondos and how they can make the most of it and outnumber people in the middle of the park, to create that space, and you've got good players to do it, it could be effective.
Yeah, that's really good points there, Yabba. I'm going to come to that in a bit but that's an excellent point. Would someone mind checking the comments for me whilst I do this? All right, very quickly. Third man combinations are the bread and butter of a false 9. Everyone knows what a third man combination is. It's 3 players minimum. 1 player passes it to the second man, who was dropped into space and is making no attempt to turn. He just plays a ball inside, and the third man has run off his man, and he gets the ball in space, in between the lines, looking forward, which is the most dangerous situation for a good footballer to be in. Any issues with that, Mr. B?
To be fair, I was going through the messages and I heard one little bit before the Mr. B bit. I'm really sorry.
Do you know what a third man combination is?
That's the third man running, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand that. I understand it. How do you incorporate it?
How do you incorporate it into a game? I will show you with a clip from Xerxes a little bit later. Much. All of these things are in clips. All right, so these are just the requirements with false 9. None of them are particularly interesting. Most important thing is moving on diagonals. Yeah. Because a diagonal goes across 2 zones. So if you think about the centre-back following him, if you go on a diagonal, you're going into the full-back zone and you're taking the striker with you. As a footballer, always try and play on diagonals. Always get yourself at 45 degrees to the men around you. It makes such a difference. Right. The problem is, though, is how do teams play with a false nine, and what do you have to be aware of? The first thing is that every team needs an outball, and with the false nine dropping to make that 4 versus 3, the outball is very rarely central. Okay, if you think back to Maguire against Fulham, do you remember he went on one of his dazzling wing runs, looked up, and there was no one there, right? That's a teething problem. The second thing is because you don't have a number 9 occupying centre-backs, have you stretched the pitch enough? Because if you're a team like us, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get as many players in between the lines as possible. So when you have someone like Rasmus Højlund running channels, getting in behind, you're creating more space for players like Ahmad and Bruno to play in because you're dragging that back line further back and giving them 3 or 4 more yards in between the lines. Okay? The other thing, obviously, is that if your wide forwards are moving into central areas, are you exposed on that flank? So if you lose the ball, essentially, if you lose,
because it depends how ball they get depends how quick the opposition get the ball out to the free man, in it really.
Yeah. So the normal answer to this is to do a tactical foul, to be honest, is you go into a counter press or you just kick someone. Like that. That's how you do it. That's how you deal with it. All right, let's just have a look at the comments before
There's not much on it. I've only touched on the comments that are relevant to the show.
Bath time. You told me Pep was really into adapting basketball strategies for football. He is. He's also into adapting rugby strategies.
He did. Who's the guy? The wizard, not the wizard. Chicago Bulls coach who coached Michael Jordan and the Lakers. What's his name again? I'm forgetting. But he used a triangle offense, which is similar to what Pep uses regarding things. So there is some similarities there. But basketball's only 5-on-5, isn't it? But there's so many strategies in that. Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry, DK. Yeah, I did. Go on.
Who's Rondo? Is he Brazilian? Well, El Rondo is the king of Rivendell and the Lord of the Rings. Elrond. Kaka. We'll get on to people like Kaka. Why have you highlighted this?
It's just they were having a discussion because we're talking about the 4-2-2-2 formation.
Tyrone Gerrard was as good as. Oh, Bart, man.
I like this though. Kaka could hold his position, unlike Stevie G. That was We've got Eddie. Thank you very much for your like.
Hi, Eddie.
Phil Jackson from Bart. Pepsi's football in a completely different way to everyone else. It's a real shame about the 115 charges because that stained his legacy. I like Slane a lot more than Pep's legacy, to be honest. Like I believe he's wrecking football. In and Juanma. But anyway. Right, the last thing is, as the very learned Mr. Forbes was saying, when you play with a false 9, you essentially are playing a 4-4-2 diamond shape. Okay? So the most famous modern versions, and I don't know about the Hungarian team, Amonde, please don't bring up Puskás and the rest of them. Fabregas, Messi and Totti are the false 9s that I'm most familiar with. Okay, so Fabregas for the Spanish Euro team, Messi for the great Barcelona team, Totti for the Roma team that was the inspiration for Rooney, Tevez and Ronaldo, to be honest. And in that, the width normally came from athletic fullbacks. Yeah. So you were talking about Carlos and Cafu, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing is that when width comes from fullbacks, you are not as good as transitioning as when the width comes from players that are further forward. You're not able to occupy zones and transition as quickly. Okay, this is one of the big problems with 3-5-2 is you don't see transitions. Think to the Euros, very few counter-attack goals because everyone was playing 3-5-2. The fullbacks get pushed too far back. So you need to be good at keeping the ball and moving patiently up the pitch. Ericsson. any diamond structure needs good rest defense and good counter pressing if a fullback goes high. Okay, so if one goes high and wide, normally the other fullback is going to tuck in and you're going to get a 2-3 rest defense. Think how City set up with.
Do you like the 2-3? This is to both of you. The 2-3 rest defense or the 3-2 rest defense?
Okay, the difference between them is the 3-2, where your fullbacks come in. It allows you more passing angles on the ball.
So this is the 3-2, right?
This is the 3-2.
Yeah.
So if you think of Cancelo and Rico Lewis or whoever it was at City, that 3 allows you to get the ball to different areas of the pitch, and it allows it to be wide. It allows pitch to be wider, so you get more in attack. I prefer the 3-2 because the 2 outside centre backs are going to be specialists at dealing with the ball in wide areas. So I think so basically the 3-2 gives you more defensive solidity, and the 3-2 gives you more
2-3.
attacking options.
The 2-3, you mean?
2-3 is better for defense. 3-2 is better for attack.
Armando?
I wouldn't know. At half time, I was really curious to listen to him, what he's saying there about it, and he gave great examples as to why. I just think having 5 players at the back, you need to sort it out yourselves. If they transition you between the
Are
5,
you serious?
Well, 5 players if in a rest defense, so 3-2.
Yeah, but don't. So you wouldn't give them.
I don't know the preference. It depends on the personnel.
Okay, fair enough.
Depends on how you want to do it. But the bottom line is, if their team's transition on you, someone should be organising who picks up what and where. The main thing is you just get players behind the ball and stop them from breaking down the centre, take them out wide.
Well, what you have to remember, Yabba, is that in this type of positional football, the whole thing is that the team is organised around zones, not the opposition, not the ball. It's organised around zones. So in a rest defence, you don't talk about who's picking who up. Your job is to protect this zone. So in the 2-3 rest defence, the fullbacks who have tucked into midfield, their job is to protect the wide areas, while the other 3 players protect the centre. With the 3-2, it's the outside centre backs that go out wide and protect those zones, and the other players protect the centre. Because the point of a rest defence is to win the ball high up the pitch, but also it is to protect against transitions, where the point of a transition is they're trying to manipulate your defensive structure to allow someone to score from a central area. So it's not about you pick him up. It's you've got your zone, and anyone who comes in your zone you deal with. Otherwise, you stay in shape.
I think what Mr. B was asking was like the difference between the 3 and the 2 and the 2 and the 3. And that's my point. I was interested in what you were saying about it, the difference between the 2, where position players would be. I think it depends on personnel, what you would play or what you would put there, what you'd ask them to do, and the strengths and weaknesses of your defenders. But the main thing is, like, as you always said, just have 5 players back. And then, as you just said there, they should work their zone. But sometimes when you're a bit out of shape, that's when you still need to communicate when you're running. Anything. So it's really interesting what you just said there. I was really listening.
Yeah, it's about lines and things.
Yeah,
like the distance between the lines, because we often talk about a rest attack, which is where you have 2 players in between the 3 and the 2, or the 2 and the 3, and their job is to sort of manipulate it. So you do have to sort of take care of these things. And I also know that Firmino is often mentioned as a false 9, but I think he's a poor example because Liverpool were just such a wildly aggressive team where they had extreme pressure on the ball in all areas of the pitch with that midfield of Henderson, Wijnaldum and Fabinho, who were just extraordinary athletes and were brilliant pressers. And then they trusted Van Dijk in 1v1 situations out wide, which was a bit crazy, to be honest, but he was good at it. And that allowed Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold to be incredibly high up the pitch, which is how they dealt with the ability to transition as a football team. They were set up for messy counter-pressing games. Okay? And that is my homily on false nines. Do we have any questions on any of that?
Are we going to talk about Xerxes as our false
Yeah.
number 9? Oh, good. That's the conversation that I want to get in on.
All right. So I'm going to show you some clips now of things that Xerxes did in the game, and we'll talk through them, but will reflect what we've just seen on the slides. So I'll get the first clip up. Yabba, are you ready to talk us through this?
Yeah, let's go. So it's all about false nines. We're watching Xerxes and Xerxes watch. We're in blue, yeah?
Yeah. 15th. Xerxes there. Anana's on the ball. He's being pressed. Like, take it away.
Okay, so Anana's on the ball here. He plays it long wide to Ahmad, and Xerxes drifts into the play, and Ahmad goes beyond, and he's remains there. And there's runners in behind. Oh, he links up the play there with Bruno. There's third man run from Ahmad. Cuts inside. And then Xerxes makes a run. He's making all these movements, trying to create space for himself, it seems. If you run this again, I'm just going to watch Xerxes and just see what he does. He works the space, gets in an area there, drags a defender with him. As Mr. B was saying earlier, do you go with him or not? And the number 5 went. He remains where he is. Gets the link up and helps with a lovely move there. Wasn't selfish. Played into Bruno, and then we were attacking here. He's still got a good position there to take a pass, to create space. Now he's made a run, an unselfish run, knowing probably he wasn't going to get the ball. And now he's trying to create space in the box again. So a lot of movement from Xerxes, which is intelligent for someone his age. To be sort of always looking for space, it seems.
What are you seeing here, Mr. B?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it thinking it looks like just like sensible soccer. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. I mean, the thing is, if we had a centre forward there, would that have been a better? I mean, in the end, to be fair, the ball went out by Dallo, but we didn't have anybody coming across the near post. I mean, he can't do everything, but we don't have that as a centre forward. We don't have that option. I'll be honest. I would really love to see Xerxes and Højlund in the same team. I think
with Højlund playing where
as a centre forward.
Okay,
in the 2, play him as a 2, but let Xerxes play his own game because he's going to be occupying midfielders. You know what I mean? Then do they go with both of them? This is more, it's just, I just feel that if there's a way that they can incorporate, because he drops so deep and he doesn't stay as a striker, they're two completely different strikers in the way that they play. I would love to see if it might not be Xerxes setting up Højlund, but I just feel that the space that he would be occupying the centre-back with would confuse the shit out of him because, Højlund's going to be going that way. So do they go with him? Does one pick up Xerxes as he comes in? I think he would be a better, maybe number 10 than Bruno.
Oof. All right. Well, should we just go through this very quickly?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
All right. So the first thing you want to see here is Xerxes dragging the number 5. That has manipulated the block, and to be honest, Eriksen should be going through that space there.
And at Arsenal 3-1 Old Trafford.
Yeah, very good. But he doesn't have the legs. So what we have here is the start of a Rondos structure. Do you see how that's like a box midfield inverted? Like with the 2 and the 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is that we've got 3 players on 3 different lines, which is the key to a third man combination. So Xerxes stays in his spot and just takes a little step to the left to allow the pass to go through. Here, this is a 3 versus 2. Yeah. This is terrible from Southampton. Really good for us. We shouldn't lose the ball here. And you know that shape that you hate, 3-1?
Yeah.
That's the 3-1 in the middle of the pitch. that means that we can comfortably get the ball to anyone we like here, we should be seeing runs come in here. Okay. But it's early days. But instead we see a third man combination. And then I personally think that this is a brilliant ball from Bruno, but he should be playing that ball there. Because there's more space here for Rashford to work in. But this is overload to isolate here, Mr. B. Because we overloaded with Xerxes in this part.
He was Damares.
Yeah. So do you see, if we get the ball out to Rashford, number 3's got to go out to him, and we've got all these runners here that will leave him isolated. So really, really good setup. And then Ahmad, I'm really disappointed with this.
I should have, yeah.
Here.
First pass.
Yeah.
Even when the game was being played, I remember him. He kind of did a stutter and another stutter instead of just playing the pass, and then it kind of brought the defenders in, and they all closed in on the space. He should have just played it. Should have played it early.
And here, this isn't a great cross from Delone. Remember, he's not left-footed, but Ahmad, I think, should be the one that gets across here, and like they should just do the traditional crossover run here. But what Xerxes does is he's basically in between the lines here, just on the edge of the penalty box, which I think's okay movement.
Lack of movement, he just stays where he is.
Yeah, but you let the players run past you. Sometimes the best.
Stay still.
So when we just look at it again, we can see a couple of those principles coming in: third man combinations, rondos, overloading to isolate. And to be honest, it's a bit of poor decision making from Ahmad and Bruno, I think, that let us down here. Like particularly here, that's got to be a pass into Xerxes.
But it's nice to see, regardless of what we're seeing here, is quite nice to see that what Xerxes can offer us. And there's another demonstration there. It's really good demonstration of what he can do and how he's intelligent enough to link up the play. And then we build as a team. We get numbers.
He's a nutmeg king. I'm sure he had 4. I'm sure he gave man 4 nutmegs in the game.
Really? Would you like to see one of his nutmegs?
Yeah, man. He's bad, man. I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be one of the better signings of Ten Hag.
I hope so. It's a very low bar. But I actually have the clip of the nutmeg.
Can you show it?
Of course.
No, are you allowed to show it?
I don't recall any nutmegs, but
I've got the animation of the nutmeg.
Oh, cool. Oh, thank God. Yeah, he gave him a couple of times. He gave it to him. I'm sure he did 3. I'm sure there was 3 nutmegs in the game.
Well, this is a good one. So yeah, but this is the 38th minute. You can see where everyone is. Centre backs on the ball. So take it away.
Okay, so Southampton got the ball. Deepest players, centre back, who drives towards the wide area, plays the ball down central. We clear it, and Xerxes picks it up deep, plays it into Ahmad, and continues his run. Still looking for space. Ahmad plays it to Bruno, and Bruno
just pisses about.
Okay, Xerxes again. Look at him. He's just there, drifting, coming deep, looking for space, looking to pick up the ball, and always unselfish and plays man in. And then always available in space. He's not even running here. He's just staying in space to pick up the ball. I love Xerxes' movement. I think awareness, his intelligence.
Mr. B, what are you seeing here?
I just don't. I think once Xerxes drops, somebody has to go central to take his place, and I don't think they've worked that out yet. There's spaces. Let me see.
Do you see?
Oh, Rashford was he on that side? Yeah.
Yeah, Rashford was on that side.
Okay, you did. Ish. Okay. Ish. Okay.
No, he does well here, because look, this is what I really like about this. Is we get hit, right? They hit a ball into the middle, whatever. This is a really, really nice counter-pressing structure, because we've got 5 players against 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really nice. We then get a beautiful nutmeg from Xerxes on that number 8. See you later. Now, Rashford, we talked about this earlier, is that Rashford has got these two pinned. And that means that Ahmad over here and Bruno over here are 1v1 with their men, because once again, we've got the ability to overload and isolate. And Xerxes is going to hit the ball into the half space here. So he's going to bring Ahmad like across his man, which gives Kyle Walker-Peters an absolute nightmare. But unfortunately, Ahmad takes a poor touch. Just there. Takes a poor touch. He sucks a couple of men in. We got Bruno 3, but the ball is delayed a bit. And then Bruno just messes about, to be honest, and it goes out of play. But this is an example here of having an overload in the midfield. One of our wide players come in central to occupy it, and then the wingers able to get in. Because do you see the channel here that's opened up because of Rashford's positioning? True. Like, these boys have got to be attacking the channel here. It's really, really nice to see.
Beautiful.
Is there anything else you want to look at before I show you the next clip so that we can get this finished?
I'm just saying this is really good stuff, because we've seen the difference with a player. That Haaland couldn't do this. Haaland's not bringing this to our game, and we're seeing the difference one player can make with Xerxes here, with his ability to sort of bring other players into play, and we're getting good positions here.
Also, look at that, 3 and a 3 there, beautiful, well protected for transitions. Like, do you see here, like, Mazraoui would be tasked with going out here. Martinez would be tasked with going out here. De Ligt, anything here, and these 3, anything here. Like, that's a really nice defensive structure. Yeah, really, really nice. Are there any comments? I've only got 2 clips. I've only got 1 clip left, actually.
Let's do the clip, and then we can, because there's not many. Chris is saying Matt Bath time for United manager.
I don't think so, unless you want us to get relegated.
No, I don't think so. I think you know what you're talking about.
Look at that one then. Yeah, I agree, Bilal.
He's got a stutter. He's trying to say Zach.
Okay, last clip. This is the 20-minute, Mr. Juma. If you can take this away.
Where are we now? So Martinez plays out to De Ligt. He gets it back home. Quick, decisive passes. Dalot in the centre. The field. Kobe's at left back at the moment. He's waiting for someone to come, but he plays it in Xerxes. He's lovely. He's able to, with a guy in his back.
It's so funny.
And then he makes the run into the box and, opens up for Bruno. Lovely again. So once it's all about Xerxes, isn't it? Looking for some options. Here's a Kobe. Is it Kobe or Dalot? Dalot plays a pass. Xerxes peels off his man. Say, yep, hit me. And tries to get him on his back. But for one time, pass into De Ligt. Then watch Xerxes. Goes to him and he comes away. Now drives into a space and gives Bruno space because he takes 4 out. And Bruno or Ahmad gets a shot off there. It's beautiful by Xerxes. And that's the option we have now, that they're getting comfortable knowing they can play it into his feet. Because watch him now. He's quiet. Nope, I'm alive. And he comes to get the ball. Feet.
It's the defender. Look where the defender ended up coming.
Wow, yeah.
I think that's the part of the game when he drops. We talk about patterns and systems of play. When he drops, there has to be a maneuver, a movement that gets the players
that's the trigger.
On. Yeah, whatever the trigger is. Yeah.
So by him, so like you said, like the 4 going with him there, he stayed still, then he just goes. He's observing the game, and even there, he drove into the 4 and the 5 to pin them down and open it up for Maz to play into Bruno or Ahmad. It was to get a shot off. So he's very intelligent, man. This is great stuff by Xerxes.
There's some other intelligent play in here. First of all, let's look at our rest defense structure. 3 and a 2. Happy with that?
I'll be honest. I like 3 and a 2. I don't like 2 and a 3.
Well, what I also think might be quite clever management from Ten Hag here is Kobe was getting beaten up in the midfield, and Delot's lack of a left foot was causing problems. So they've switched here. where the more physical Delo is now in midfield, and Kobe, who's got a better range of passing and more, he can do more cute stuff, is in this area here. So I quite like that from Ten Hag. But
by accident or by
deliberate. Do you remember Mazraoui took a fall, and pretended he had a head injury?
Yes. Yeah.
About 10 minutes earlier, Xerxes did the same thing. There was definitely a shout from the bench that they needed a break in play to organise things. And this is what they organised. And Delo and Eriksen in particular here are brilliant. And I'll show you why. Delo, right, he was very pressured there. He gets the ball out to Kobe. Kobe also struggles from the lack of a left foot here. You would like to see maybe Bruno dropping in here, to be honest, getting behind and between. But if he does that, he's in that box, and that's not a good place to be. So Kobe waits for an option. The only real outball here is a Nano. But Delo is a good footballer, and he understands what we're trying to do. So Delo manipulates the block, and he pulls that number 8 out. The next thing we're going to see is Eriksen manipulate their block. He's got to open up a passing lane. So watch Eriksen.
Beautiful.
He's cleared that space. And also Ahmad's position, I think, is a bit too high here. But Bruno has now gone in to the centre. So as this number 4 goes out to Xerxes, the 5 and the fullback are now basically sort of trying to deal with the striker, and Ahmad is completely free.
Nightmare.
So exactly. This isn't
I would
fun.
hate to be in that defence with that sort of movement.
My only issue is if the ball gets turned over here, are we protected enough? I wouldn't mind to see Martinez a little bit back and Mazraoui a little bit back, but fortune favours the bold. And as the ball comes in, watch Maz. He's off already.
Yeah.
He's cleared the pass into De Ligt by making that run. I don't like fullbacks getting ahead of play, but Mazraoui, Eriksen, and Delo have cleared the centre of the pitch to allow this combination to take place. Ball gets to De Ligt, takes a touch forward. Xerxes pulls in to make a rest defence, but look at this. This is very nice. We're protected against a central transition here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good structure to have. And then De Ligt has got an easy ball out to Ahmad. And then Maz goes on the outside. Right? So he's pulling more people away. He's giving you an option. Essentially, Kyle Walker-Peters he's not having fun here, is he, Amonde? Because he's basically in a 2v1 against 2 pretty good players. And this is where I could kill Ahmad, because he's done the same thing again. Bruno, give the ball to Bruno. If the ball comes out to Bruno here, as in that position, I'm a second striker now. Sorry?
The number 4 has to take him.
Yeah, you put your foot on your ball. Number 4 has to go. Xerxes is in there, or Rashford is in there. This is why, Monday, we had our fight about Ahmad's performance, because stuff like this was annoying me. And then he takes a stupid shot and it gets deflected. But this is how United are playing with Xerxes, where the midfield is cleared. And now he's dropped in, and you can see the Rondo structure there with the target here. We're not going to lose that ball, and we're able to suck players in. Like, if the reason I didn't want Maz to run is I wonder if one of these 2 players has got to go out to Maz if Xerxes controls that ball, flips it out here, and opens a pass out there as the 7 comes in. Do you see? Is that clear?
It's brilliant, isn't it? All of this is like giving space for the wide guys and Bruno to get goals. And Garnacho scored and Rashford scored in the game as well. So it's thank you, Xerxes. We talked about his
Thank Johnny Evans.
Oh yeah, Johnny Evans. But we talked about Weghorst, and giving Rashford a lot of opportunities that we didn't see. This is why I really love the eye test, because we get to see in this animation and detail and really break it down how we are rotating in the final third, and how we're creating space, and how good Xerxes is, how intelligent he is, wise beyond his years.
He's got to score goals, I'm on that.
I think he's getting a lot of chances. He will.
Okay, he's got to start putting them away. If you
will.
do all this is just Brighton football at the moment. It's got no end product.
Well, it's okay. I think he will. Like Ahmad will improve. Like you've been a bit critical of Ahmad. I think he's definitely, the more he plays, because he hasn't played. He played a handful of games at the club in 3 years.
He's got pretty privilege.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant stuff. I think I'm really hopeful going forward. But the only problem is, if Xerxes not there, we're going to have to go back to type, because unless you ask someone to do the same job as Xerxes, which I think we did with Mason Mount at the start of the season. He was
Bruno, not Ahmad.
Yeah, but then are you not going away from the fact that we've spent 70 million on Højlund?
Well, I think that Højlund eventually, Mr. B, will be challenging Ahmad for the place.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I think.
Sorry, start again.
I think that Ahmad and Højlund are now in contention for the right wing, in my opinion, because
Højlund,
yes,
striker Højlund,
yes,
okay.
Last season, when he came off the bench in those 4 or 5 games, he came scoring from the bench, and all of his goals came from basically outside the box on the right-hand half space, where we find Ahmad. Yeah. Okay. So if you think about the Liverpool team with Firmino, Salah, and Mane, that's the angles they were attacking from.
Yeah, but then he has to stay higher up the pitch. I would hate to see him, because Ahmad does a lot of defensive work. He does. I like the fact that he's only little, but he gets himself back. I don't want to see Højlund. I don't think Højlund has those capabilities, attributes. Yeah, I don't think he has those attributes to do that job. So I wouldn't want to see him on the left unless he's staying up, as in, where they're scared of him, so they have to mark him. I'm not having him there. We'll have to go 4-3-3.
Well, I mean, Ahmad was staying high up the pitch, and you wouldn't want Højlund playing Xerxes' role.
No, I don't think he can play Xerxes' role. But what I'm saying is Ahmad does a lot of defensive work. Naturally, he will track the player back. So it's not somewhere where you have to shout at him, and he hasn't done it for that split second where you need him to have gone. I don't think Højlund's attributes make him that side player. If it's a 4-3-3 and he's staying up there, then fine. But I don't see him coming back and doing the ugly work.
I do see him doing that, and I also think that his pace and power, because we know it's not great used centrally. His ability to hold up the ball is poor. I'm a great believer that young players that are raw, like Rooney was, like Ronaldo was, they learn their trade out wide, and then they can come in central. But mainly, we need goals in this team. And I don't think that there's goals in Ahmad from what I've seen so far. And I think there might be goals in Højlund. So I think, I'm not saying that Ahmad is worse.
Chances in that game.
Chances don't matter. Goals are the currency.
Still, but he's still creating 5 chances.
Yeah,
I think he's probably had 15 games at Man United. So
but if someone can't put those chances away, you go for you then get the guy that can score goals.
There's more.
Maybe it will come. But the thing is that Garnacho and Rashford are the guys that scored at the weekend.
Garnacho and Rashford have played like so many games for the club. Garnacho was a mainstay last season. Let's see what Ahmad's like at the end of this season and see if we can get him goals.
We need goals.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
He will.
The thing is, though, Garnacho plays better off the bench.
Well, I don't know.
But you've got to give him a chance.
No, I understand you've got to give him a chance, but when all right. All right, we'll see what happens.
I agree with what you're saying.
I think it's about a psychological thing as well. You've got to keep him hungry. When he comes to the bench at the moment, you can say to him, you've had an international, you've been playing throughout the summer and all that kind of thing. We're going to bed you in slowly. He's come off the bench hungry. He's on it. He's soon going to be asking for first team place.
But then who? So we talk about him. We talk about him replacing Ahmad.
No,
replacing Rashford.
It could be Rash. Could be anyone. People get injuries, don't they? People will get the opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think if he continues to perform as he's performing, coming off the bench and scoring like he did when he first started, he was coming off the bench. He eventually got a first team role, and then for a couple of games he was a bit, disappointing, but then eventually he started to get into it and do the right thing. So you got to keep players on their toes, and I think at the moment this is why managing a squad is so important with management. Keep players motivated, keep them on their toes, and when if Ahmad's come off the bench, he will probably do the same. Have something, with 15 minutes sharp late in the game, he'll be able to do. Be effective and score goals as well. So I'm really, the whole thing is what Bath Town brilliantly put. We talked about Xerxes, the false nine, the characteristics of what the Rondos, the third man runs, the peeling off players, dragging players out of position. I think it all leads to more opportunities, as we've seen there from the great graphics and the animation. So,
I think what it leads to is a style of play that we can recognise. Like I know a lot of people, because to be honest, it's not up for the team to show you a style of play. It's something you've got to be able to see, and some styles of play are obviously more recognisable than others, like crossing to a target man or something. So going forward tomorrow against Barnsley, I think we should be looking at like 4v3s in the middle of the pitch, where the wide forwards are, who's at striker, and so on. Because Wheatley, I think, is probably a false nine, isn't he? So I'm hoping that tonight, with a little bit of sort of pragmatism of personal experience from training and doing these things, that maybe the lads watching will be able to maybe appreciate what we're trying to do more and understand that players like Eriksson and Delo, sometimes what they're doing off the ball is far more important than being on the ball, because they're making suicide runs, basically, like no intention to receive the ball, but trying to manipulate that block.
Yeah.
So I think an hour and a half. Well, we had a preview as well, so I think that's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, especially after today, and it's really good Bath time. Like we watched the game, and Mr. B done the watch along. I watched it live, and I'm more excited. And it's hard to take everything in. So, given the 48 hours you had or something to sort of get that together, it's opened me up to some new understanding of what's going on, and I really enjoyed that. So, thank you very much.
My pleasure. All right, are we doing a watch along tomorrow, Mr. B?
Yeah.
Wicked.
What time's the game?
8:00 game. Be here for 7:45.
Good.
What's the dress code?
I
No devils.
I couldn't even think of a PC answer. So
I want everyone in chat. I think that we should have like a formal night when I demand that everyone in chat tells us that they're in a tuxedo or a dress or something. Dress up for Barnsley. And then myself, Yabba, and Dora, I think, are on the reaction show. The Lady Screamer is back.
Hey, thanks to Double A, thanks to Matty Bassett. I entertain him. You're waking up now after you're sleeping. Big up to Tyrone, Reserve Better, DK Wilson as well. Double
Big
A.
up to the Daleks that have taken over your mic.
Good night.
All right, Lack and Notch time, everyone. Lack and Notch. See you tomorrow.